The Biden administration is banning Americans from investing in dozens of Chinese defense and surveillance technology companies. The move comes as an effort to stop US capital from being used by China to undermine national security. In this video, we will look at what the ban entails, the reasons behind it, and what effect it could have. President Joe Biden signed an executive order to prohibit investments in 59 companies, which include top Chinese entities such as Huawei. The ban will take effect on the 2nd of August and will prohibit direct investment in both debt and equity securities and funds that contain Chinese securities in their portfolios. Investors will be able to make trades during the next 12 months to divest their holdings. Even if investors are not obliged to sell the securities, they will be unable to sell their holdings after this one-year period without special approval from the US Treasury. The blacklist will be managed by the Treasury Department, which oversees many of the economic sanctions that the US employs. Interestingly, this move follows on from Trump's order last year that saw him ban investments in companies that the Pentagon had put on a list of groups with suspected links to the People's Liberation Army. This order, however, created confusion among investors, and US courts also later ruled that the government had not provided sufficient evidence in some cases to justify putting a company on the target list. The confusion was highlighted by the New York Stock Exchange, for example, that ordered, then rescinded, and then ordered the delisting of the American depository receipts of China's 3 major telecommunication carriers. In March, Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi won a reprieve from the blacklist after a federal judge questioned the Pentagon's legal reasoning. But what are the reasons behind this move? The Biden administration, coming into office, vowed to sustain an uncompromising approach to China. The administration said they would improve on Trump's administration's policy by working more closely with allies. Indeed, Biden's administration held on to Trump's tariffs that cover about $250 billion in trade with China. And it also held the line on Commerce Department sanctions that banned the transfer of US technology to Huawei and other entities. It has also followed the Trump administration in describing as a genocide China's program of detention and forced assimilation of Uyghurs and other mainly Muslim groups. And to support this, in March, the US, Canada, and allies in Europe brought sanctions against Chinese officials over the repression. A senior official outlined how this order ensures that Americans are not financing the military-industrial complex of the People's Republic of China. On the other hand, China's foreign ministry accused the US of overextending the concept of national security and abusing its national power. An important point to note in this new order is the inclusion of Chinese surveillance technology companies, which expand the scope of Trump's previous order beyond just entities with military links. A further issue that brought investors complaints under the Trump administration's order was whether the ban applied to subsidiaries of the blacklisted firms. Biden's administration said that this issue justified expanding the list to 59 entities and suggested that this list could be added to in the future. But what are the effects of this move? The move is part of Biden's strategy to counter China through moves including reinforcing US alliances and pursuing large domestic investments. These moves aim to boost American economic competitiveness at the expense of souring relations with China. In terms of the effects on the markets, analysts suggest that they had already digested such moves after Trump's past actions. The relationship between China and the US is crucial not only to both sides, but to the whole world. And China has been repeatedly calling on Biden's administration to improve relations which had deteriorated under Donald Trump. However, as we previously mentioned, Biden has insisted that existing tariffs will be kept in place as he looks to boost the US economy. And the Chinese Ministry of Foreign Affairs suggested that China would retaliate against the latest measures, saying that it would take necessary measures to safeguard the legitimate rights and interests of Chinese enterprises. Overall, the growing trend can be identified by quoting Biden's Indo-Pacific Policy Coordinator Kurt Campbell. Last month, he said that the period of engagement with China had come to an end, and the dominant paradigm in bilateral ties going forward would be one of competition. This is a hugely significant move, and we shall see what effects it will have for the future of both sides and the global economy. As always, thank you so much for watching our videos. Please do consider subscribing for more, leave us a like and a comment to let us know your thoughts, and we'll see you next time.